What is Derodophyta here? Means the Derodophyta is a Greek word. It is means teres means a fern-like structure. The phyta means that plant. So here in Derodophyta around some fossils are there, some living genera are also present. Is clear? Are you audible? Hello? Okay. So they're also called as a vascular cryptogam. So means here vascular system is present in the cryptogams means there are the non-flowering plants. You know that. So the vascular system is well developed means xylem and phloem connecting tissue is present in the Pteridophyta onward. So, but embryo is developed on the Bryophyta. Here, vascular system is developed in the Pteridophyta. So, mainly the Pteridophyta, they are widely distributed in temperate as well as the tropical regions. Yet they show the preference to tropical regions where they only not only grown the luxurious but is exhibit a wealth of these species. Okay, the Pteridophyta have many fossil genera whose history dates back to around 380 million years. Okay, mainly they are dominant vegetation during the Carboniferous period of the Paleozoic era. Pteridophyta mainly dominant period in the Carboniferous period. Okay, so here, what are the characters are there? Means these Pteridophyta we are called as include the club mosses and quill words and horsetails. So these are common words are there, which is includes means club mosses means Lycopodium we called club mosses and quill words we call as the ascites and Inquisitum we call as the horsetails. Okay, so different the common names are there. So what is the here? The Pteridophytes possess two distinct genera are present. Generations are present. What are the generations means here? The sporophytic generation and the gametophytic generation. This is the fern-like structure is there. This is the pteridophytic plant. Okay. So mainly the dominant stages are there. That is the sporophytic stage and gametophytic stage. So they are both are free living and they are independently. So their the life cycle is also alternate with each other. Alternative with each other. Alternation and generation means gametophytic generation and sporophytic generation. What here is the sporophyte? The sporophyte means the plant body varies from size and structure among the pterophytes. It is differentiated into root to stem and leaves also there. This is okay. Definition to root, stem, and leaves. Most of the living pterophyta they are herbaceous with a dorsiventral symmetry, aerial and underground with a dichotomous and laterally branched stem. So some the leaves asymmetry organs are called that only the simple leaves are present. The primitive pteridophytes they are the so divide of the roots so that in the xylophytales. The xylotum, the roots are absent, but the scales leaves are present on the stem. Xylotum, here roots are absent, but scale leaves are there. In the salvinia, the plant body is divided. The root is a new structure found for the first time of the body on the sporophyte, enterophyte. Okay. Some the equisetum means equisetum and lycopodium means they are the succinate venation is there. Sarcinate means the fern leaves are big in the petiole or pinnately compound with the young leaves are curving like structures. Curling like structures, they are the spring like structures are there. Curling and spring like structures are there. The young leaves, that one we call as the sarcinate. So here vascular system of Derodophyta is consists of xylem and phloem. So here the tracheids and vessels, the vessels are totally absent. The phloem is consist of two tubes and phloem parenchyma. The companion cells are absent. Okay. The remaining vascular system is evaluated. The protostele mainly. Protostele is present in advanced from the siphonostele. Okay. So here they are the vegetative character means the vegetative propagation by the adventitious branches and gametophytes and root tubers. So these are the vegetative process are there. The fertile is bearing the sporangia known as the sporophylls. This is a special character in the Derodophyta. Is it audible? Hello? Anybody? Is it audible? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. This is the special character spore bearing that's sporophylls. Leaves we call as the sporophylls. So there are the aggregate on the shoot axis to form the compact structure, that one we call as the strobolus. Example Lycopodium, Selaginella and Equisita. So these strobolus are not found in the ferns, but the sporangia are developed on the sporophylls in small groups. So that group is called as a sorus. Okay. So here the most of the pteridophytes are homosporous. Homosporous means a single type of the spores will develop only single character. All spores are similar in structure. That one is the homosporous character. But in Marsilia and Salvinia, there have the two types of the sporangia, means megasporangia and microsporangia. So they are respectively to produce the megaspores and microspores. That's why here they are called as heterospore. Marsilia and Salvinia, Selaginella, Isitis also. These are the heterosporous character. Homosporous means all the spores are in same structure. That one is a homospore. So these megaspores and microspores are germinate gyrus to female and male gametophyte respectively. So next one is the gametophyte plant node. So here the haploid spores are the pioneer to gametophytic generation. So the gametophyte to pterophyte is a simple and ornamental thallus and are there. And then on the prothallus. So this is the prothallus is the independent and free living plant is there. In many pterophytes, the gametophyte aerial, while the xylotum, the certain species of Lycopodium, the gametophyte are the subterranean. Subterranean means they are the subterranean, it is not have the chlorophyll, means submerged plant is there. So here, no. Okay. So the gametophyte bear the male and female sex organs are there, that is the antheridia and archegonia. And the antheridia are developed either on the dorsal and ventral side of the prothallus. So they are generally embedded in the prothallus. In advanced form, there are the slightly projected. So in the each antheridium has a single layer of the jacket cells with the androgonial cells are produced. So these androgonial cells form the spermatized. The primitive forms are spermatized or biflagellate. Two flagellus are spermatozoites are there. These spermatozoites are liberated and fuse the egg and form the heterosporous character means the phytomorph is different. They are the separate and male and female prothalae. We already discussed that. Okay. The gametophytes in the heterosporous pterophyta like Selaginella ascites, they are highly reduced, do not grow free on the soil. So they are the endosporic character means grow within the spore swarm. Okay. The male gametophyte of ascites is reduced a single vegetative cells and a single antheridium, and in other it is comprised on the vegetative cell and the other two antheridia. So after fertilization, the mainly the chemotaxis means the affection of the water. So the medium is the water only. Here, with the help of the water, the anthrozoites are swim and fuse with the egg to form the diploid zygote. So here, uh, so next one is the life cycle. Here, the heteromorphic alteration of generation is there. Heteromorphic alternation of generation means here two stages are there. So another one. So here two phases are the distinct phases are there means sporophytic phase and gametophytic phases are there. Okay. So here in the special character here we can see the apogamy and apospory only in the pteridophyta. Here the two characters we can see the apogamy and apospory. What is apogamy? Apogamy means which is a Greek word. Apo means without. Gamy means gametes. So this is the formation of the sporophyte directly from the gametophyte without gametic fusion or union. Without gametes fused, the directly sporophyte will develop. That one is the apogamy. Without gametes fusion, so that is the special character in the pteridophyte. We can see that one. Any vegetative cell may be involved in this process in the sporophyte form, which is in the haploid character. Haploid condition is there. Okay, this is the haploid condition is there. So means the gametes cannot fuse. Only vegetative cells to form as a sporophyte. It is naturally in the fern and can also include the lycopodium. That is the apogamy. Apogamy means the gametes without fusion that to directly develop as a sporophyte. That is the apogamy. Apospory means apospory. Apo means here also apo without. Spory means spore. This is developed from the gametophyte from the sporophyte without spore formation. Okay, so it may be developed from the any vegetative cell of the sporophyte. So thus the result division is skipping for the, such as gametophytic. That is the diploid condition is there. Diploid condition is there. Okay, so this is in the pteridium and osmunda. Pteridium and osmunda, we can see the apospory. Okay, so apospory and apogamy. Apospory means The gametophyte means uh, developed from the sporophyte without spore formation. So that's why the gametophyte is the diploid condition in this. Apogamy means the without gamete fusion form the sporophyte. That is the sporophyte is the haploid condition is there. That is the apogamy and apospore. Next one is the parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis means partheno means without, genesis means development. This is the development of the egg into sporophyte without fertilization. This is a special character. Means there is no fusion of the egg and anthrozoids. Okay, so this is the two characters are you can see the in the character. Next one is the origin of the pteridophyte. The origin of the pteridophytes is a topic, long debates and several the theories which are proposed. Okay, so main some evidences of the fossils. So only the evidences are there. Fossil evidences are there. The next one is the classification of the pteridophyte. So mainly the Smith classified. The Smith is classified of the pteridophyte based on uh, the character Smith and Bold and Benson and Zimmerman. So after Zimmerman, the Sporne 1968 is divided the pteridophyte into five divisions are there, five classes are there. Okay, so five classes are there. That is the Silopsida and then another one is Silotopsida, Lycopsida, Spinopsida, and Theropsida. Okay, what is it here? Five classes are there. What is that one here? Silotopsida and Silopsida, Lycopsida, Spinopsida, and Theropsida. So here, these five classes are there in. So in the class Silopsida, that is the here the Rhinia. This is the Silotales. Order is the Silotales. Is the example Rhinia, and the class Silotopsida means Silotales. The example is the Silotop. Another order is the Lycopodiales. Example the Lycopodium and Selaginellales. Selaginella, Ascites, Ascites, and Pleromales means Pleromia, and Lepidodendrons, example is the Lepidodendra. Another class is the Spinopsida, order is the Spinophilopsida, order is the Calamites, and Equisitales, that is the Equisitum. Okay, this is the some classification, means Sporne classification. Okay. Next one is the history of the uh, So next one is the hello. Is okay. So now we discuss the another topic is the rhinia. What is the rhinia here? So in the fifth unit here we discuss the life histories of rhinia, Lycopodium, Equisetum, and Marsilia. What is the structure, morphological feature, and reproduction? Now we discuss in the fifth unit. What are the life histories of rhinia, Lycopodium, Equisetum, and Marsilia? Here, these four we discussed in the fifth unit. So, the rhinia, Lycopodium, Equisetum, Marsilia belongs to the sporophyte, which is the rhinia is the very primitive sporophyte. Okay, so rhinia is the classification. That is the class is the Xylophytopsida and order with the Xylophytales. Family is the Rhiniaceae. Genus is the Rhinia. So the class here Xylophytopsida include the vascular cryptograms is present by the solely by the Silurian to Devonian period only. So the fossil remains are mostly fragmentary and include incomplete to the much of the details nowadays still which is unknown. So here, uh, so the Rhenia is earned in the name locality in the Rhenia in Arrosenian district of Scotland. So it was described by the Kidston and Long in 1917. So the species known which is Rhenia as the major and Rhenia gigini is the better known species are there. Okay. What is here the habitat? There is the evidence that the plants are genus the Rhenia is very growing in the swampy marshes near the volcanoes, where the atmosphere the surrounding them the full of sulfurous vapor. Where the sulfurous vapors are there, the Rhenia will grow and that places are there. So the soil is very gray and petty and was saturated with acid water from hot springs. Both of the species of Rhinia were discovered from the old red Scotland beds, means Middle Devonian period only. Okay, so that is the Rhinia is a locality where it is probable that the silica contain water are overflowing. So the fossil of Rhinia were formed by the infilling of the cell cavities of the dead plants by the preparation of the mineral matters, means mineral matters are there which is dissolved in the water. This process is as formed as a uh, permineralization, means petrifaction. So that Rhinia fossil is the petrifaction fossil. So in Rhinia, all the plants pods were silicified. All pods are silicified only. The petrified remains the plants were recovered nowadays as a fossil. So on the basis of the section obtained from such rocks that form the structure, both species have been reconstructed and established. So what is the habit? In the both species of the here the herbaceous structure is there. Both species are herbaceous and the Rhinia major was the largest species in the aerial stem and measuring around 50 centimeters in height and 1.5 to 6 millimeters in diameter. So, in the other species, that is the Rainia, Grainia, and Vagani, were comparatively smaller cylinder where the aerial stem reached around 26 height only. What is the external morphology of the Rainia? So, in the both species, the only sporophyte which includes the rootless and consist of the branched axis. The axis was differentiated into prostate and dichotomously branched rhizome. The erect dichotomous branched aerial stem is also there. The stem is dichotomously branched. Yesterday we discussed dichotomously means. Dichotomously means here. Hello, anybody tell me dichotomously means? Are you audible? Hello, anybody? Hello, hello.
Sir.
Okay.
Yes,
What
sir.
is what is dichotomously? What is dichotomously branching? What? Yesterday we discussed. Hmm? Okay. So dichotomously branching means each branch again divide into two. So that one is the dichotomous branch. The rhizome was buried under the pitty moss from the dead remains other plants of the same kind. On the underside of the rhizome, small tufts of the rhizome was present at the patches at the same place, and roots were completely absent. Okay. The, the aerial stem was only a continuation of the rhizome's axis, which are termed upright either gradually or the aerial stem was cylindrical and unbranched and separately dichotomous branch. There are naked and leaflets. The small parent gametes, hemispherical, oval, and prototubular, are seen on the bottom of the aerial stem. So there are well-developed proliferation of the cortical cells situated below the certain stomata. They developed vascular strands in the independent of the steel of the stem. Sometimes they developed into the adventitious branches are there. The aerial stems were strapping the gradually toward their apices and either ended as the vegetative species before the terminal solitary sporangia. Now we discuss the anatomy. So here anatomy of the stem. Here this is the anatomy of the stem is there. What is the rhinia is the very primitive vascular plant. We already discussed that one. The stele was the simple protostele with a central core of the xylem surrounded by a layer of the phloem is there. The remaining there are the lock of the sharp protostele and metaxylem. Protoxylem and metaxylem is not a differentiation. Only the centrally the xylem is there. The xylem is surrounded by a single layer of the phloem. So here the aerial stem was essentially the same in the both species. We can see the cross section here. A outline layer is there. A single layer outline was the differentiation into three regions are there. That is the epidermis, cortex, and stele. The outermost layer, that one is the single layer, closely arranged cells. That one is the epidermis is there. Below the epidermis is a thick and some covered cuticle layer is there. Uh, that is the cortex. So outer epidermis, a very thick wall, muesli, that is the very thick wall layer, that one we call as a cuticle. So some stomata is also. So the below the epidermis here, below the epidermis, one area is there, that is the cortex cells. This is the all are the polygonal cells are there, and the polygonal cells and spherical cells are there. Here, intracellular space is present, many times larger than the central locality of the was differentiated into hypodermis and inner cortex. Such a differentiation was less in the rhizome. Hypodermis consists of 1 to 4 layers of the cell. There are the large and thin walled parenchymatous and angular without any intercellular space. That one is the hypodermis cells. Below the stomata, a continuous layer of hypodermis was broken leaves of stomatal space are there. That is the air chambers. So, below each stomata, a continuous of the hypodermis was broken to some the substomatal space are there. Inner cortex was the several layered continuing the rounding with the intracellular space. That is the inner construct was mostly probably the photosynthetic tissue. So endodermis and pericycle is separated the cortex from the stele, here absent. Endodermis and pericycle here not clearly visible. There are the small central cylindrical xylem surrounded by the phloem. So the xylem is consist only tracheids, which are so either annular or spiral thickening. Sometimes the tracheids are at the center was the smaller diameter than the peripheral tracheids. The phloem that is surrounded to the xylem, the rhizome's xylem consists of few tracheids are there. This is the anatomical structure. Next one is the reproductive structure. What is the reproductive structure here? The sporangia, a special structure is there in Rhinia. This is the sporangia. Now, the Rhinia only the sporophytic generation is known. So that's why the vegetative as well as asexually. Uh, so asexual reproduction means so the sporophyte of Rhinia is reproduced only the asexual by spores and was homosporous only, which is reproduced only asexual reproduction means only the sporophytic gland is there. There is no gametophytic gland. So that's why only the asexual reproduction is present in the Rhinia. Okay. So means the spores were produced in sporangia, which are borne on solitary at the tip of the aerial stem. So see here in the before the plant body, here some aerial club-like structures are there. This is the sporangia. A club-like structures are present in the apical region. This is the sporangia. Apex of the shoot. They are the okay. So there are very either cylindrical or oval or club shaped with a pointed end and were widely than the substance branch with the slight construction was found. The major region is sporangium, which is around 12 millimeter in length and 4 millimeter in diameter, whereas the 4 millimeters length and 1.5 millimeter broad in Rainia and Gaini Valgani. So there is a small structure in the Rainia, Rainia Gaini. That Rainia major is the some larger than the comparison to other. The sporangial wall was very thick and consisted three distinct layers of cells are there. The outermost layer of the wall was slowed to epidermis with a thick cuticle. The middle layer is constructed three-layered of the thin wall cells, while the innermost layer was having the small around cells, which probably function as the tapetum. The cavity inside this sporangial wall was filled with the spore tetrad spores that were all there are they look alike. The presence of spores tetrad suggests there was a meiotic division during the formation of the spore. Spore mother cells to undergoes to the meiosis to form the spore tetrad. This leads to the conclusion the sporophyte was diploid in the constitution. The sporangia was a dehiscence and locked with any special device of the dehiscence. The probably decay of the sporangial wall might have caused the liberation of the spore. There is evidence that the spore was disappeared by the air. After liberation of the spore, so there are the dehiscence in the atmosphere by the air only. So here the rhinia is clearly visible, the tetrad spore are there. So in the sporangia here also the spore tetrads are there. So next one is the gametophyte. The spores which is represent the gametophyte generation was the spherical and large, nearing measuring that is 40 to 65 millimicron in diameter. They are covered with a cuticle and they are the germinate to produce within the same means they are the refined charts beds shown the multicellular structure developed at the end of the germ tube. Okay, so this is the so different authors they are to suggest the different conclusion. The spores looked very much like the spores of Rhinia major. Besides the above knowledge, distinct gametophyte of Rhinia is unknown. Okay. So here in the Rhinia genuini may be vascular gametophyte. The absence of distinct sporangia bearing the organic connection with the aerial stem of the Rhinia guini vulgari and the presence of hemispherical protubescence and adventitious branches which are supporting to the young embryos. Okay, so this is the general characters of the Pteridophyta, general characters of the Pteridophyta and classification and some life history of the Rhinia, structure and morphology and sporangia structure. Okay, clear? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So from in this on the fourth topic that is the classification of the Pteridophyta. That is the coming in the important question. Classification of the Pteridophyta. That one is very important. And in short question coming, what is the apospory and apogamy? What is apospory and what is apogamy? Okay. Apospory and apogamy is coming in the short question. Okay. Are you hello? Are you note down?
Yes.
Okay. Are you note down this one apospory and apogamy and classification of sporophyta. This pteridophyta classification of pteridophyta means four-neck classification. Four-neck classification is very important. And next one is the Rhinia structure, means that is the morphological structure, anatomical structure, and reproduction. Sporangia structure. That is page number 53. Sporangia is there. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
Rhinia is compulsory. They are asking the compulsory question. Rhinia. Okay. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
So this is the very okay. Thank you, Andy. Thank you for attending the class. Tomorrow we'll discuss remaining Lycopodium and ecosystem cell. Tomorrow we discuss that one. Remaining three.
Okay, sir.
Hmm? From today, we discuss the Rhinia and classification of Pteridophyta. That is very important topic. Rhinia external morphology, internal structure, and Sporangia structure means reproductive structure. Okay. So any doubt?
No, sir.
Again repeat. Some member are asking. So classification of Pteridophyta. Classification of Pteridophyta is important, and another one is the Rhinia. Rhinia structure means morphological structure and internal structure. Another one is the reproductive system, means sporophyte, sporangia structure. That is important. Okay. So you prepare, be prepared for the examination point of view with diagrams. This is Rhinia is compulsory question. Asking short question or either essay question. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Andy. Thank you for that class.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Again, they are shorting.